Let's do a little survey of the crowd, shall we? I'm going to ask a few questions about a very famous person. Are you ready? Okay, great. Here it goes. Who likes Taylor Swift? Anyone? Who doesn't like Taylor Swift? Okay, for those of you who don't like her, how many of you used to like her? Raise your hands. Okay, got it. Something has changed in the way some of you view her. Last question. This one is tricky. In fact, it's totally impossible to know the answer, so just improvise. How many of you think you'll like Taylor Swift 5 to 10 years from now? Raise your hands. I just needed to see where we all stand when it comes to Taylor Swift because I wanted to read a few of her lyrics as we get started today. Back in 2017, she released a song with hip-hop artist Future called Endgame. Here are a few lyrics from the Endgame chorus, and I quote, "Big reputation, big reputation. You and me would be a big conversation. And I heard about you. You like the bad ones too." So it's basically about the idea of two people getting together in a relationship and how it would be the subject of a lot of gossip. Why? Because both people have big reputations. Reputation is an interesting word, isn't it? It's basically what people generally think about you. In this series, Now and Later, we're talking about how we used wisdom in certain areas of our life now to impact it for the better, both now and later. And having a good reputation certainly fits into that category. But there are a lot of things that make this a tricky idea to wrap our minds around. First, let's go back to the Taylor Swift song. She's one of the biggest celebrities in the world, and she's celebrating the fact that she has a bad rep. And she's not the only one. There are tons of artists who brag about how bad they are, how cool that makes them, and how they don't care about what anyone else thinks about it. And when it comes to your world, isn't it true that there are some people who are more popular because of their bad reputation? Maybe you know people who are known as partiers, rebels, or rule breakers, and it gives them a lot of street cred with people at your school. It's like they're living out the lyrics of that Taylor Swift song, except cooler than that. On the other hand, have you seen how good reputations can make people less cool? And on top of all that, it's so difficult to control what other people think of you. I mean, you may have the best of intentions to do the things the right way, but what if people try to make the decisions about who you are for you? Maybe you made a mistake in the past that you're not proud of, you did something you regret, or you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time and got busted or exposed. And now it's like people identify your reputation with that one event. Someone spread false lies about you. I don't know why someone would do this. It's sad, but it happens from time to time. Maybe someone started a rumor about you and now it's part of your reputation. But for a lot of you, if you're being honest, your reputation hasn't really crossed your mind much. And that's okay. I mean, it rarely crossed mine when I was in high school. Besides, aren't we supposed to not get all caught up in what other people think about us? Sometimes this seems a little bit like being fake or wasting our time on image management. And for others, you manage a different reputation with adults than you do with friends. You may want the adults in your life to think you're good and your friends to think you're rebellious, or maybe even vice versa. I told you it was a tricky subject, but no matter what you think or don't think about reputations, I think what we're talking about today will help you see yours and everyone else's more clearly than ever before. Even though the Bible is an ancient text, it has some great advice about a lot of great areas of life. In fact, even if you don't believe in God or the Bible, some of the advice and wisdom found there could still be really helpful to you. One of the books where we see a lot of that wisdom is called Proverbs. It's full of amazing bite-sized pieces of truth and insight that can make all of us better at life. And I know that every one of us wants to be better at life. We want to be more compassionate, thoughtful, kind, loving, and more careful with our choices. So with that in mind, let's look at a passage from this wisdom book. A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. A good name is equal to a good reputation. To be esteemed is equal to being respected. And according to this passage, it's a bigger deal than getting rich. But really? Is it that big of a deal? Are we supposed to just take the verse at face value and believe that it's true? Here's what I've seen to be true about reputation. Reputation doesn't really matter to us until we wish we had a better one. Let me give you a personal example. When I was a freshman, I played tennis for my school. not varsity, JV. I'm pretty sure there were about 20 girls who tried out for the team and all of us made it. There was nothing impressive about it, and I'll admit I didn't take the tennis team too seriously. The next year, my sophomore year, I almost flunked out of school. I failed a bunch of classes and found myself academically ineligible to play tennis in the spring, which was disappointing because I had a goal of making the varsity team that year. I obviously didn't realize grades affected that goal. So I began the long journey of my academic comeback. Summer school, tutors, focus, studying, effort, all the things, and by spring of my junior year, I was able to try out for the varsity tennis team. But this was no walk in the park. My old JV coach was now the varsity head coach, and all of those sophomores who made up the varsity team when I was a freshman, they were now seniors. I had been known as a jokester, and nobody was there to joke around. There was an intense group of girls who had played together since they were kids, and it didn't take me long to figure out that while they liked me, none of them trusted me to help the team. All they had seen was a freshman who didn't take anything seriously, and the sophomore who was a no-show because she couldn't finish an assignment or study for a test. They had no idea how much I cared about playing varsity tennis. At that point, I had a reputation, and suddenly I cared about it. My reputation. A lot. Not only did I have to perform to actually make the team, I had to win over a group of tough seniors. What I had done in the past affected where I found myself in the future. My past reputation affected my future reputation, and my rep created barriers that I had to work really hard to overcome. And for most people, that's how reputation works. You know, a lot of times when we hear the words bad reputation, I think some of us imagine some scary-looking dude with a cigarette in one hand as he rides a motorcycle to rob a bank. But that's not how it looks in everyday life. In the real world, a reputation turns bad when we make a few bad decisions, don't care what people think, and then it costs us something. Think about this. What would a bad reputation stop you from doing? What opportunities would it keep you from pursuing? A bad reputation is like a locked gate to your future. In some cases, it will stop and prevent you from going through the gate. Because sometimes opportunities open and close because of your actual abilities. And sometimes opportunities open and close simply because of what you're known for. Have you ever heard about a famous college or pro athlete who was criticized for things they did or posted as teenagers? At the time, they had no idea that their words or actions would impact their future. And later, they found themselves in a negative light because of something they did years before. Love it or hate it, our now is almost always connected to our later. On the flip side, a good reputation is connected to good opportunities in the future. Your reputation now can open doors for you later. The two are connected. As a high school student, there are a lot of things you can't control. Your schedule, your freedom, and your curfew. But one thing you can control is what opportunities your current actions will open up for you in the future. This is why reputation matters. In other words, a good reputation is good for you now and good for you later. But what can we actually do about our reputation? If it seems like something we can't control, what can we control? We can control what we want to be known for. If you could be known for 2 or 3 things, what would they be? You don't have to know the answer right now, but it's worth taking some time to think about. And while you're thinking, take peers and adults into consideration. Is it possible to be the same person around both groups and get the same result? Now, maybe you're thinking, this would have been great to hear about 2 years ago, but I'm already known for some pretty bad stuff. And listen, I get it, but I want you to know it also isn't permanent. You can still control what you're known for. Just like a few decisions over time may have earned you a negative reputation, different decisions over time can make you known for something else. It won't happen overnight, but taking control of your reputation is possible over time. We can also control our long-term perspective. If you're sitting there thinking, why should I care about what people at my high school think about me? It won't be long until I never see them again. I get it. And that's true, but a good reputation and a good name is about more than just high school and life after high school. It's about the kind of person you are. It's about who you choose to be. So when you think about what you want to be known for, don't just think about now. Think about later too. Take your future seriously. Friends may come and go. High school will eventually be a distant memory. It won't change the fact that having a good name may get you farther than money, riches, popularity, or anything else. As you head out, know this. The book of Proverbs that we're looking at in this series is a book of wisdom. It's not a book of promises. When it talks about the importance of having a good reputation, it's not a promise that all people with good reputations are going to get what they want. And it's not a promise that people with bad reputations are never going to get good opportunities in life. It's just a loving word of advice that carries with it the potential to make your life better, both now and in the future. So remember, a good reputation is good for you now and good for you later.